Hey, ladies and gents, Joe here, the man who attacked the White Legs in Zion. It's a little Fallout New Vegas reference. I started playing that again. It's one of the best games ever. Anyways, I am here today to talk about UFC on ESPN, Tybura versus Spivac 2, a rematch that was so forgettable that they decided to make a main card out of it, hoping that we would remember the result. One of the most forgettable main events ever. Or not main events, just main cards and fight nights of all time. It was so forgettable that as I was shooting it, or as I was taking notes for it, I can't even talk. That's how forgettable it was. I'm trying to recollect. Help me to recollect. I just got distracted by anything, and I would look back and be like, wait, there's a fight going on? I almost forgot. Like, very odd. But enough talk. Let's just get to the fights.
Baby, I will be your ever-loving fan. Give me the drink.
Main event. Heavyweights. Sergei Spivac versus Marcin Tybura. Marcin Tybura, in fairness to him, didn't really have a lot of fanfare. He had a win streak, don't get me wrong, but he was brought in to be a stepping stone for Tom Aspinall, who was coming off of the injury he suffered in the first Curtis Blades fight. Spivac, he only had the one loss in the UFC to Walt Harris, boy material Walt Harris, but had the win streak. Tom Aspinall, but finished them both, made it look really easy. Spivac gets another good, solid win streak going again, including one of the funniest ones in my opinion, which was Greg Hardy. I almost said Ed Hardy, or I was like, wait, no. That's a series of shirts that very dated. But he fought Greg Hardy, and at one point Greg Hardy just kind of goes, oh, like that on the ground, not knowing what to do, and Spivac, beats him up. But Spivac, known to be like this very oppressive top game grappler with submissions, mostly submission threat. He can finish you with strikes because heavyweights tend to gas out when they can't get someone off of them, and he takes great advantage of that. Nothing against that, obviously. When I say taking advantage, I don't mean that in a negative way. It's a good thing because you want to take advantage of limitations in your weight class, so to speak. If you're in a weight class without very many wrestlers, a guy like Alex Bejeda, he's taking advantage of that. And you really can't fault him too much, unless they don't book Ankalaev against him. But away from interesting topics in MMA, let's talk about this. Sergei Spivac, Marcin Tybura, they had a rematch. That's right. Tybura beat him as well. I always think Spivac beat Tybura back in the day, but I think Tybura beat him by decision, if I'm not mistaken. Well, they fought again. Here's the rematch. It's the fight no one asked for, but you're getting it. And here we go. Spivac gets a good takedown early. From there, gets an armbar at heavyweight. And people were talking a lot about, like, oh my god, an armbar at heavyweight. You don't see that every day. I argue this. I feel like you don't see armbars at all anymore. Like Ronda was like the last good armbar person I remember. Armbar's just few and far between in general. It being at heavyweight, I think you can argue the most famous armbar of all time is at heavyweight with Frank Mir, Tim Sylvia. I think probably that's the most famous armbar ever, but regardless, sure. I'm at this point, I feel like 2024 has done something to me where, like, anything above lightweight, like lightweight and down, I'm actually really excited to see. I usually expect a pretty good fight out of it, at least. But welterweight and up, I'm just like, especially when it's on like a fight night, I'm just like, all right, let's go. Very few times am I excited to see fights above welterweight, especially this year. But that's just me. Maybe I'm jaded. You guys can call me jaded. This year has been really wearing on me. This is going to be added to the list of things I talk to my therapist about. I'm kidding. It's not. In fairness, this is one of those cards that it's pretty bad. We knew it was pretty bad going into it. We figured it was going to be, and hey, here we are. And you can't really fault the fighters for it. they're there to fight. Like, I'm never gonna fault a fighter for how they are, like, in terms of entertainment and where they are in the totem pole. Like, if a fighter is just trying, he's fighting and he doesn't have any interesting matchups we can give him, would we just not book fights for him? It's kind of one of those weird situations where I really shouldn't complain as much as I do. But I'm still going to. I would rather be known as a complainer than a UFC bootlicker. Two very opposite ends of the spectrum. You ideally want to be in the middle of sorts, but at the same time, Co-main event, Chepe Mariscal, Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson I actually have a lot of fun with. I think he's pretty prime boy material. He got dominated here. Chepe Mariscal, he missed weight by 3.5 pounds, so it was going to be a featherweight fight. Now it's at 149 pounds, and he dominates Damon Jackson. Chelsea Chandler comes in at 141, and when she's supposed to be fighting at bantamweight. Danny Barlow, he wasn't that much over. He was only 0.25 pounds over. But still, all three fights went on, and they kept going, all catchweight fights. Danny Barlow and Chepe Mariscal getting wins after missing weight. Danny Barlow, like I said, though, 25 pounds. Come on. But Chelsea Chandler, it didn't help her. So 2 of the 3 weight missers missed. The solution to this, cutting weight's pretty tough, honestly. I'm super glad in my life I've never had to do it. I've tried losing weight. I'm still currently doing that, and that's pretty tough. I couldn't imagine having a timetable for it. And that's my mentality. But at the same time, they're obviously, I'm bringing this up mostly because I'm looking for things to talk about. And my notes, you can tell if someone were to read them, would be like, what do we talk about with this card? There's things you want, like, when this comes up, it's a good time to talk about weight issues. My best friend, his name's Anthony, trying to get him on the show at some point. He lives with me too, but that's why I keep pointing over here. But me and him were talking, and he said that he almost views weight bullies the same way he does a steroid cheat, and I think there's a lot to that. Like, that has been having me think about things a lot. And then the 3 missed weights here, I really hope in the future we get something to help out with the weight cutting issue. I've been proposing same day weigh-ins for a long time. That really limits how much a fighter can weight bully, because they have to come in, they weigh in, and then at that point there isn't much time to hydrate, which I know you're saying, like, oh, that's super dangerous and stuff like that. Well, you also do a hydration test as well. I think ONE FC does all this, but they do it in the back, like, where no one can see it. Like, I want everyone to see this, right? So there's no shenanigans and everything like that kind of situation. I want it to be gone of the days of Daniel Cormier hanging onto the towel. You know what I'm saying? But for the rest of the card, let's just get this out of the way. Danny Barlow, he defeated Nikolai Veretinikov, I believe that's how they said it. Chris Gutierrez, a lot of fun. Sadly, going to be remembered for being the final opponent of Frankie Edgar, the guy they brought in to put him out to pasture, which is horrible. He defeated Kyung Lee by a unanimous decision. Yana Santos, formerly Yana Kunitskaya, defeated Chelsea Chandler. Yana Santos, you might remember, she's married to Thiago Santos. Toshiomi Kazama got a triangle choke, the second finish, but opened up the card and then the finish at the end, over Charalampos Gregorio, I believe. No, there's no Gregorio. Apologies. And on the prelims, you had Carl Rosa beating Pani Kianzad by unanimous decision. I like Pani Kianzad, so that kind of sucks. Yonata Denise beat Carl Williams by unanimous decision. Yosef Zalal got a rear naked choke over Yamo Aarons. And finally, opening up the card, Stephanie Luciano beat Talita Alencar. And that was the card. It wasn't a very good card. Like I've said many times at this point. It kind of has me kind of thinking of like the glove situation, you know, I like want to talk about the gloves because everybody's kind of been like really finger pointing at these new gloves, saying that there was less knockouts become. I haven't done the math myself. I haven't seen anyone do the math, at least. I feel like there's been less finishes since then, but I don't know if it's safe to say it's the gloves. I just wish they went with the Trevor Whitman's gloves. I don't have too much to say on that. I kind of want to talk about it a lot, but I sadly don't know enough. It does feel like it, though. I do think we're jumping on the gloves a little too hard, too quickly right now, but it certainly feels like it. Really kind of a slow week. So there really isn't too much to talk about. I do want to apologize because I'm shooting this Sunday night, or technically Monday morning, because I had issues with power and the internet. We had big storm Saturday, and that and some personal obligations have really slowed down what me and Carl were trying to do this weekend. So, you know, hopes for the preview show coming out, but we're not sure. So apologies out to you guys on that. We've done like it's been testing us. Life has been testing us for sure. A lot on my end, creating difficulties just trying to do stuff. And also, please, if you love what we do, please support the Patreon. Right now, gonna be honest, YouTube just hates us. YouTube despises us right now. We've had some demonetization issues with that. And so the best way to support us is by joining the Patreon. And guess what? Like, we're not just going to let you support us for free. No. You're going to get all this cool stuff. I actually, right before recording, watched the newest video that's going to be on the INC main channel before anyone else gets to see it. Because, well, one, I work with the INC. I'm part of the family. But secondly, I saw it on Patreon is where I watched it, where I saw all the early content. I see all these early contents, all the retro reviews that you guys love. I got to see them much, much earlier. We get exclusive content on there as well. INC Uncaged. I have a movie reviews that were coming there. I get to movie review Warrior, which was awesome because I love that movie. Any excuse to watch that movie is great. And this is just an added bonus. An added bonus for joining the Patreon is you get to nominate a retro review for free. That I will do. I've done almost all of them at this point. I think I'm relatively caught up with all of them. I have a couple more to do, which I'm going to try and shoot today. Try to KO that because I have power, I have internet. So let's get going. Once again, I'm Joe with the INC. Thank you so much for all your continued support.